tuning in. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, I think we're live. Finally live. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to MojoGrip. Mike here. Jumping on a live video with y'all. And if you see me looking at my computer, it's because it's to my side here. So this is an impromptu live video. And I like to do this when we get like more subscribers on the channel. It's been, I don't even know, a couple of thousand subscribers ago. So I like to jump on live video just to like reintroduce myself to all the new people and also catch up with y'all. So if you are tuning in, thank you for tuning in, and just say what's up in the chat box and I'll catch up with you. Matt, what's up, man? Max, what's going on, bro? Jacob, appreciate y'all tuning in. Anyway, again, this is just impromptu. I didn't schedule it, but I had in mind that I was going to do a live video today, and that's why I dropped today's video early. That way I can just catch up with y'all. And also today, not today, this week is about 5 years anniversary of me being on YouTube. It's crazy that I'm on YouTube, because those who know me personally know that I'm a very, very private person. But I won't bore you with the story, but you can thank my wife for you seeing me on YouTube, because she's the one who sort of pushed me and said, hey, you got to get on, man. You got to share your story, all that jazz. So here I am. But anyway, I'll take the time to say what's up to everybody. Danny, thank you for tuning in. Mike, Ben, CJ, Sean, Oliver, Joe, I appreciate y'all tuning in. So again, if you're new to the channel, this is Mike. I'm the guy you see on the videos. And if you're seeing a review video, then I'm the guy you just hear his voice behind the video. And do let me know if you can hear me and if you can see me, because if we have tech difficulties, then I have to do something. I've got my notes here. So I want to cover a few things. First of all, I want to thank everybody. Man, we got to 200,000 subscribers. I never really did a celebration on that, but I still can't believe it, that MojoGrip, a channel I created, is at 200,000. So I want to thank everybody, everyone who shared the videos, comments, everyone who's been there from day one. And I still remember a particular person, and I remember I basically copied their username. They've been with me. I remember years ago when the channel was around 632 subscribers, and he had left a comment, because I was sort of depressed at the time and I didn't care much for YouTube, but he left a really motivating comment. It's like, dude, you're gonna take this channel to some place that's big one day. So 5 years later, here we are. So I want to give a shout out to him. Captain Eli, is that it? Appreciate you tuning in. Dawson, thanks for tuning in. And guys, please let me know where you're watching from, so I can shout you out. Ricky, appreciate you. Hey, from Puerto Rico, man, that's what's up. Thanks for tuning in. So anyway, like I said, I want to use this opportunity to just catch up with everybody. And guys, if you have ever had any questions for me, this is the time to ask. I'm here for basically till the battery to this camera dies. So probably about 45 minutes or so. So please ask away whatever questions you got. But while you're doing that, while you're asking your questions and getting in the chat box, I'll just go through the stuff that I wanted to talk about. So first, actually, I wanted to clear up some stuff on the channel, right? So the MojoGrip has gotten bigger, obviously, and the bigger it gets, the more the comments line gets filled up with a lot of great stuff and a lot of not so good stuff. There's a lot of comments that doesn't make it to public because I have somebody moderate it. But more particularly, like, I have tried so hard. As a matter of fact, I have made sure that I never involve politics on this channel, because it really doesn't matter. Like, we shouldn't care what political party or whatever it is you believe in politically. This is about aviation. It's about airplanes and love for planes and flying. So I've tried to keep the channel neutral. But, over the years, obviously 2020 was a crazy year, and it was also election year. And a lot of things were brought in that were politically motivated. And a lot of those comments, I let fly. I don't usually check them. but then there's some hate comments that come in. Now, obviously, like, I don't also put that on the channel. Like, I never played the race card on this channel. Obviously, I'm a black dude, who loves airplanes, but I never make that a thing on this channel because I don't care. I don't care. Aviation has been really good to me. The pilot community has been great for the most part. But when I read, certain channels, and also more particularly, I've featured people of Asian descent on this channel, about 3 of them, and I've noticed something common. Some comments, I wouldn't say a lot, but just a few bad, rotten comments that will be posted on those videos. I don't let them go public because it's not welcome. So, and I know that a lot of those comments are not coming from you guys who watch or who subscribe to the channel. It's usually somebody who just came across the video and just wants to poop on somebody else's platform. But just letting y'all know, and I have respect for everyone that I shake hands with, and also know that oftentimes, like, when I tell pilot stories on this channel, they're typically people that I know offline. So these are acquaintances or friends. And so when I read some of the comments, it's really not comfortable with me, but I thought I should say something about it. That way, like, we can keep it moving with respect. And also, like, political stuff, like, please just keep that stuff out of the comment line. Nobody cares. If you have a comment, like, I welcome criticism all day, and I've been getting so much of that more recently. And I welcome that all day, as long as it's about the airplanes, about the video, or about whatever it is that you think I'm screwing up on. I'm totally cool with that. But anything else outside of that, I really would love to make my job easy. Please. I've literally had to hire somebody to help do all these things because I'm not even comfortable going into the comments anymore. So guys, please, let's keep that away. So that's my rant for the day, but everything else is good. So something amazing happening. Sun and Fun is coming up, guys. But before I talk about Sun and Fun, let me check the comment line real quick and say hi to everybody. And Marvin from California, thanks for tuning in, man. Jonathan, I appreciate you. Chris Brown, what's up, man? So guys, like I said, if you have questions, just leave in the comment line, and I'll be sure to get to it. So as you know, obviously we're still sort of in the middle of a pandemic, which sucks. But I've been able to travel, believe it or not. I've been able to travel through the pandemic, and I'm very excited for Sun and Fun that's coming up. If you're going to be there, I'm planning to be there, God willing. The Mojo Sling will also be there. I'm not sure what type of restrictions they're going to have for the event, but I'm sure they will have some. But I do plan to be there. I do have that same week, I have some family matters I got to take care of. So if I'm not there in the beginning of the show, I still plan to be there. So I hope to meet some of you. It's going to be in Lakeland, Florida. So please come say hi. I'm likely going to be in the Sling booth or just up and about. So please come by and say hi. So I'm definitely looking forward to Sun and Fun. And then also recently, guys, I announced PilotArm. It's a project that I've been working on, and it really comes from every time I get asked a question like, hey, how do I get my pilot's license? And the truth of the matter is, like, I don't know the right advice to give to just random everybody, because everyone has different situation. I've had people hit me up from like international students, and they're like, hey, would you recommend a school? I'm in so country, but I'm looking to come to the United States to get my pilot's license. Would you recommend a school? And I'm like, it's hard for me to do that because I don't know every school in the US. And that's why I want to create a place where we actually have a list of all the schools, and it would be sort of like a social platform where everyone who's using it will get to review their experience on the instructor, on the school. That way, the best schools get the students. It's that simple. So that's what PilotArm is about. So if you haven't registered or submitted your email, I encourage you to do so. Right now, we're just sort of data collecting, and that way, once it actually launches, then we'll let you know that, hey, you can come in, and it's going to be absolutely free. I don't plan to charge anything for this, but I'm I'm excited to add something to the aviation community. So I'm going to be doing that. Now I'm going to go through some of the questions here. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see. Macintosh, what aircraft would you recommend to buy after you get your license? Honestly, that depends on your whoever just gave a super chat. Appreciate you, man. So for Macintosh, if you after you get your license, I can tell from my personal experience, I was looking to actually get the same plane that I trained in, which was a DA-40. I figured, well, I have most of my hours in this plane. It was going to be seamless to transition to it. But life happens, as you know. But honestly, it would depend on your budget and what your mission is. Right off the bat, I encourage everyone, if you're starting low, I would look at a Piper Tomahawk. I know it gets a lot of flame, but that was a plane that I was looking at also back in the day. So I will look at a Tomahawk. If you have a more a bigger budget, then I mean you're in the money. Grumman Tigers is a good case if you want to go the same route I did, but my journey took 3 to 4 years. I got my license. I didn't get my first plane until 4 to 5 years after I got my license. But immediately after, I would look at something like under 50 grand. And there's a lot of planes you can get even under 30. And the Tomahawk is one that I highly recommend. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see more questions. Oliver says, I'm too old at 56. It's crazy because I see this all the time. You want to know the oldest pilot that I know? Just turned 78 years old, and he got his license in is literally a year ago. So 56 is not old. Trust me. 56 is not old. If you want to get your license or you want to learn how to fly, I would say go for it. What's my favorite plane of all time? Aviation 4. Man, there's a lot. I know, like right now, if I had the money to get the plane of my dream, it would be the PC-12, the Pilatus. I've always had just fantasized about flying one of those. So that would definitely be a plane I would get. Hey, politically incorrect from Texas. Appreciate you tuning in. Let's see if there's no more questions. I like to go back to my list. Boom. Okay. So, and guys, please ask away. So next thing on the list, I've got here the content. So if you've noticed, obviously, we have the pandemic going on, or went on literally all 2020. It's still kind of in the air, and that's really put a dent on being able to get content. So I'll give an example. Initially when MojoGrip started sort of taking off, I was like, man, I'm gonna try to cover everything in aviation, right? And I've tried to do that. I, interview pilots, which is actually one of my favorites, even though they're not the most popular videos on the channel. Those are my personal favorites because I love to hear other people's stories and how they started their journey. So there's pilot interviews, airplane reviews, obviously, the list videos, which is how a lot of you actually subscribe to the channel or found out about the channel. A bunch of just flight videos randomly. I've done warbirds as well. So I've tried to cover everything. But here's the thing. Right now, what I'm looking to do is streamline more of what I'm putting out there. And I need your help. So normally I would just go with whatever I'm thinking and put stuff out there. But I do, the channel is not at 1,000 subs anymore with a lot of people. And I feel like a lot of people subscribe to different things. So some of you may have watched helicopter videos and subscribed to the channel. Some of you watched a particular airplane that I covered and subscribed. Some of you subscribed from the list videos that I used to do. And I've refrained from doing those list videos. I've mentioned before in the past, one of the reasons being copyright issues. As a matter of fact, the copyright issue I had about a year ago was from another YouTuber, HD Aviation, I think it was, and they reported that I used one of their clips, even though I always give source in the video and also a link back to the source of the video. But that channel, HD Aviation, reported, and MojoGrip was flagged for that one thing. Basically ruined. It was like a 10-second clip, and it ruined an entire video. And approximately 3.5 million views just got wiped out because one person reported. And I think since then I've tried to stay away from doing list videos, except it's an airplane that I've personally covered. And that's why it's been, because normally, a lot of you request a bunch of different models to cover. And normally without the pandemic, I really do seek it out and try to find those planes. And if I can't, I would try to find it online somewhere and then source wherever I get it from. But again, since that copyright issue, I've sort of stayed away from using other people's content to make a point on my channel. So it's like my rule of thumb was if I didn't cover it, then I'm not going to use it. But I've seen in the comments, and some of you have emailed me to start doing more of those videos as well. So I'm going to try to do that. Obviously, Sun and Fun is coming up. Like, again, last year with everything canceled, I couldn't get a bunch of the plane reviews that I was looking forward to and that I wanted to share. So I'm hoping with events like Sun and Fun and more, hopefully Oshkosh happens this year also, I'll be able to get a lot more airplanes for you guys. And I will get back here and see if there are questions. Mr. 69, I wouldn't say your name completely. Says, I like to see factory tours. Okay. And that's another thing, guys. Please do let me know like what videos you want to see. As a matter of fact, that's actually why I'm bringing up this point, because again, personally for me, it helps me out to streamline this whole thing. I would love to continue covering everything, but excuse me, a lot of things are changing in my life as well. As some of you know, I'm a new dad, and if you've ever had a kid, it changes everything. So except you want me sleeping on the couch or divorcing my wife, then you'd help me out with this. So for me also, I really would like to streamline the content that I'm putting up. So I would love your opinion on what you actually want to see on the channel. If up to me right now, I would just put flight videos, which is sort of the content that I've been putting up the last month or so. And I know for a lot of you who did not subscribe for flight videos or watching this guy fly, you may turn away from content like that. So, but I do want to know what content, what content did you subscribe to, right? Like what content did you like on the channel, and what type of content would you like me to keep making moving forward? So my goal is to streamline to maybe 2 to 3 different type of stuff, and instead of trying to cover everything, because it's sort of humanly impossible for me to do that now, having a family and having a growing family. So it's crazy over here. But that's my goal. So after this live video, I plan to put up a poll, and then I'm asking y'all to please help me out. Let me know what type of stuff you like to see on the channel consistently. And then, I can get to work and hopefully get y'all stuff. Ben says, your content opened me up to experimental. I've been a Cessna fan, but we got a Cessna. Look, I have nothing against Cessnas. I just think they're old. They're great because they've been tested through times. But every time I see a Cessna, I just think old. So I hope you didn't get offended by that. But yeah, if y'all can let me know like the style of content that you want me to cover on the channel, I will gladly do it. But for now, what I've got going on, definitely more airplane reviews are coming up again as the economy in the states and all the restrictions are opening up. Then I can schedule more stuff. As a matter of fact, I scheduled a bunch of stuff through last year, but a lot of things didn't happen because of the pandemic. So I'm hoping to get more done here and I've already got some on schedule right now. So you guys stay tuned for those. Sun and Fun, obviously, I would love to cover some new stuff that I'm looking forward to that I would love to share with y'all too. Um, and then you're gonna see obviously more flight videos on in the Mojo Sling, and I read again the critique. Everyone who flies from the comments, who likes to let me know what I'm doing good or bad. And as a matter of fact, what I plan to do is also talk about something that I've seen in the comments more often, which is flight following. I'm going to talk about that because I think there's different perspective to it, and I think because when you think of the flight videos that I make, obviously these are an hour, 2 to 3 hour long flights that I cut short into like 15, 20 minutes. So a lot is happening in those videos that you don't get to see. So I give an example. The One of the videos I did, which was I went to shoot, I went to meet one of my buddies who owns a Blanca. Now that video, I saw comments about, hey, why didn't you use flight following this and that? The flight was literally 10 minutes long. It was like going from here to go get some food. But I think I'm gonna make a video and share different perspective on flight flying, especially for new pilots, because I feel like we all should learn from each other in terms of the pilot community itself. And I think how everyone, like, the way you do something may not necessarily be the right way all the time. Like, flight following is a great tool to have, but it's not a legal thing. Like, it's not a law that you're breaking if you decide not to use it. And I think that it depends on your mission. I think it depends on your pilotage, and I also think it depends on the pilot itself and what equipment you have. And I've had situations using flight following where it literally burned 30 minutes or added 30 minutes or more to my flight time, because I would go through a space with this heavy traffic, and with flight following they ask you to do a bunch of maneuvers, turn right, turn left, all of that. So stay tuned for that video, for especially for those of you who have different opinions about it. I would love to actually have a discussion on the subject matter. So that said, what time is it now? It's 9:45. Okay, we're getting closer. Hey, Gravity's daughter, thanks for tuning in. Eduardo says, could you do a plain budget buying list? A plain budget buying list? Do you mean like doing like cheaper planes you can buy? Because I've done one of those videos before in the past. If that's what you mean, Eduardo, please comment. I can always do those again. Updated 2021. Okay, I'll see. And then Mr. 69, do you prefer Garmin Pilot or ForeFlight? I actually wanted to make a video about this because I was exactly in that predicament. Being that I use Garmin products for my avionics, naturally I wanted to use Garmin Pilot, and I did use Garmin Pilot for a while. One, because I was on Android instead of iOS. For those of you who use ForeFlight, you know that ForeFlight is only available to iOS users. I got to be honest, I chose to use ForeFlight, which also required me getting an iPhone. ForeFlight is just, it's so much streamlined, and the ease of use, it's very intuitive in my opinion. And I decided to go with ForeFlight instead because I like the interface better. And also it's great. One of the cool things about ForeFlight is once you do your flight plan, then you can shoot so for example, I do my flight plan. I usually, believe it or not, all these videos that you're watching, by the way, I usually start my flight plan days ahead. So I'm doing my flight plan like 3 days before. And so on the day of, when I get in the plane, I just connect my ForeFlight plan with Bluetooth to my G3X Touch, and it just boom, it pushes all my flight plan directly to my screen. So that's a great feature to have. So ForeFlight, I think, obviously, I'm using ForeFlight now. So that's to answer that question. I prefer ForeFlight to Garmin Pilot. Hey Travis, appreciate you tuning in from Seattle. Said congrats. He said congrats on the kid delayed. I look, I can tell you right now, I'm feeling. Hey, if there are any dads out there, shout out to y'all. I totally underestimated, what it is to be a parent. But shout out to y'all. And I feel like I respect my dad a lot more now that I'm a new dad. But yeah, a kid changes everything. If you have been through the gauntlet of being a parent, and I'm still fresh. My daughter just turned 1, but I totally underestimated just how much of my time that she would need. And my wife is already talking about having another one, so that's a topic for another day. Um, so yeah, I feel you, Travis. Let's read more questions here. How did you meet Max Maxwell? How often do you guys fly together? Guys, shout out to Max Maxwell. I think he's been featured on this channel once or twice. Uh, Max is actually a good friend of mine, also business partner. I met him through he was looking to buy his airplane as well. So about a year or 2 years ago, he was shopping to buy an airplane. I get questions all the time from people who are looking to buy airplanes. So he just hit me up randomly, and then we met in person in California, and then we just hit it off from there. So that's how we met, and we do fly together often. How about instrument certification series? So, Crit, I would love to do that. I technically started doing that. My plan was to get my instrument rating, and I'm currently working on it right now. And I sort of started the journey, but again, things just kind of got sideways. So right now, as a matter of fact, this month I'm taking uh, my written exam for the instrument, and then I'm going to take an accelerated flight program. Now, if I'm going to document it, I don't know, because again, I want to focus on just getting it done, then hooking up cameras and talking about it. I'll see what I'll do. Again, guys, it's two different things when you're doing something and then also documenting it on video. But my plan is to focus on it because it's a tool that I will be using in the real world. But I will, excuse me, I will try to document as much, or at least talk about it and what my experience was like. So let's see. Amish, was there a big difference on Bristol going with the 915? So I think you would have to fly it. So what Amish is asking, if you're not familiar with Bristol, it's a light sport, and they recently introduced a model that has a Rotax 915, which is the same engine in my plane in the four seater. So I think you would have to go like fly it yourself. For me personally, when you're looking at I would say in the light sport category, Bristol is definitely at the top of the line when it comes to a premium airplane. I'll be honest. It's top of the line. Think of it as the Cirrus of the light sport. It's very well designed and it's very well balanced. And the Bristol that I flew was the 912. No, it had the 914, I believe. So it was the second to the 915. And mainly what you get, the real difference comes in the takeoff performance or your climb performance. Other than that, you're still locked into 120 knots. Even though in the Bristol you can definitely do a lot more with the 915 in terms of your speed, but because of FAA regulation, if the aircraft is in the light sport category, then you're limited to 120 knots. So not much you can do about that. Um, Actually, there is. So speaking of, I know Dan Johnson is a great guy to follow, guys, and he's obviously been helping to lift some of the limitation in the light sport category. Like imagine right now, the Sling TSi that I fly could easily become a light sport aircraft if they increase the gross weight, because the Sling TSi is a very light and nimble airplane. Now imagine if a Sling TSi was in the light sport category, then it would be available to more people, where it would be factory built, and you wouldn't have to go through a build process to build one. So that would make all the difference in the world. So I'm keeping tabs, but from what I hear, it's going to take another 2 years or so before we even see a needle move when it comes to increasing the limitation to light sport. What is the difference between an experimental flight requirement? Speaking, I'm not sure exactly what it is you're asking, so if you can be more specific, I'll be glad to answer that. Amy says I'm flying a series now. It costs too much. Yeah, I know. And guys, speaking of like, again, when you think of Cirrus, you're basically flying like the Mercedes Benz of the skies, right? It's bigger engine, bigger everything. You get the premium, but also the ownership cost is up there. When I posted the video of the cost breakdown of my plane, I saw, some people were shocked. I'm sure a lot of people were shocked because perhaps you didn't think it would cost as much, or you thought, man, it's reasonably priced. Now, the entry cost or the cost to build a sling might be, I don't think it's up there. I actually think when you compare it to everything else in the market, you're actually getting a great deal. But the ownership cost is tiny, guys. Like I burn, on average, I've been burning 7 gallons of fuel per hour on average. Even though the POH says 8, I typically burn 7, and I don't go over that. So in terms of my fuel costs, maintenance costs, I've had to do so. Another thing is, when you either buy a brand new airplane or you build one yourself, you're gonna have squawks. You're gonna have things that you like. Literally, the first month of flying that airplane, doing a pre-flight, I would notice something that I would have to, okay, we need to look into this. So, but it hasn't cost me an arm and a leg to get things fixed. So, but if you fly serious, you're looking at, quite some on the ownership cost. Hey Dan, good afternoon, man. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm in Atlanta currently. FC Simpson. Hey, FC Simpson, you can shoot me an email, mike@mojogrip.net. I'll be glad. Now, again, right now, I'm still, part of what I'm doing with PilotArm is trying to gather a network of all the schools that are local to me, and also literally just around the country. It's some work just to collect all that data. But until we launch, I can't say, hey, this school is the school you go to. Actually, right now, if you ask me, if you have access to me, you can go even not the traditional way. If I had to get a do over, what I would do is join a flying club. I think it's more intimate that way, and you probably get access to the plane more or better than if you went with just a flight school. So obviously, I'm privileged because I have networks of, pilots and instructors. So for me, I can easily call a friend that's a CFI to help me if I wanted. Like right now, I'm working on my instrument, so I can easily call a friend to help me out with that. But again, that's why you go to the airport, make some friends. But even so, I think flight clubs is something that perhaps I don't even talk about well enough, but I think it's a legitimate way to get your license. And I think it's because it's not as crowded as a school. And I feel like it's more honest. Again, some of you may have seen my story of how I got my license. It wasn't the prettiest process. So I think if you go through a flying club, you might get a more honest process, and you'd have access to better instructors and more friendly and intimate instructors than if you went to like a big school. So that's one way to go about it. Hey, congratulations, Jay. Let's see. Flux by, what am I using to study for my instrument? I'm using Shepherd's Edge. It's the most prescribed course or practice course that I've been told about. So I'm using Shepherd's Air. And I also watch some YouTube videos just on things that I don't understand. And I have ground lessons with a CFI that's local as well. So hey, congrats, Robert. I'm glad I could do that for you. All right, I'm gonna answer one or two more questions, and then I gotta call it a night. BK says, "Do you think I should buy a diesel plane if you can afford it?" Yes. And I think that would be nice. Darkman Max, is there anything I should do or study or prepare before I start flight school? Great question. So again, and this is one of the things that I want to help you solve when you go to pilotarm.com is having the right steps. Again, when you think of how everybody else or how normally you would go through your processes, you would go get a demo flight. A school obviously is they want you to join their school because they want your business. So they might entice you with a demo flight, and then all of a sudden you sign up for lessons, right? But though to me, that's don't even do that. If I would advise you right now, I've said in my last video, one of my last videos is if you're looking to get your private, okay, this is not for sports pilot license. If you're looking to get your private and then more ratings, the first thing I would do is the medical, right? And you don't have to do it first, but I would consider doing that first, and then I would start ground lesson. Don't get in the cockpit. Don't start flying yet. If you can set up a flight simulator or you have access to one, that actually is a great substitute to start with before you get in the cockpit. So I definitely would start with ground school, get the knowledge part, and I promise you, actually, if you get the knowledge part down, once you start the practical side and you start learning how to fly, more things will make sense to you than if you were doing both simultaneously. So I would say get your ground, get started on your ground first, or even get the written out of the way if you can, and then start flight lessons. And things, I think your process and your journey will move along much faster than if you went just the average or the traditional way. So that's my advice. Hey Sean, I'm out of LZU, man. Appreciate it. Robert, do you think Microsoft Flight? Absolutely. So as I said, I made a video a while ago that I set up. I still have my flight simulator here in the house, and it was great because of the pandemic. Obviously, now I have access to an airplane, but if all you have is a simulator, Microsoft Flight Simulator is a great software or gaming software to use just to practice, just to even train your muscle memory. You know the basics of aerodynamics. I think you should get it if you can. Uh, Barry, where's the best place to get written with the knowledge? Please shoot me an email, mike@mojogrip.net. There's a lot of different resources, so it would take all night for me to give you all that. Let's see. One more question. Simulators are good. BK, I'm gonna take your question last, and then I got a jet, guys. BK says, "Do you hold on?" BK says, do I like the Technum High? I haven't flown one yet, but I like the look. If you've ever seen a Technum on the Ram, Technum. Look, I'm I have a thing for design and also a really well-made interior space, and I think Technum does a great job in doing that. Now, in terms of the flight characteristics, I've actually never flown. I know they have the 2008 and 2010 models for their high wings. Also the 2012 with, I think that's the twin. I can't say much about the flying characteristics, but in terms of look and finish, and also the cabin space, I think Tecnam is a great option. I do know two pilots who fly the Light Sport, the 2008, and they've only said good things about it. So I would take their word. And lastly, I promise this is the last one. Trapeze, how do I find a sponsor for flight school? Great question, actually, to end this live video. Often the most common challenge, I would say, to learn how to fly, obviously, is finding the resources or the money to pay for things. Guys, there's a lot of money. Like literally, there's millions of dollars of grants that goes unclaimed every single year. I don't know why, but that is the case, especially in the aviation community. So if you're in the pool right now and you want to learn how to fly and you don't have access to the resource or you can't afford the entire thing, one, keep watching MojoGrip, because I have stuff cooking right now that we're working with a nonprofit that I would love to announce, but I things have to be done first. So keep watching MojoGrip, because we'll start having grants, and I will personally start pushing those information out as well. And also, if you actually sign up to the mailing list on mojogrip.net, I can update you much sooner. So that's one. But also AOPA, every year they have a part on the website where you get access to all of the grants that are available. And there's a bunch of them. AOPA themselves have one. Black Pilots Association, bpsomething.org. They have one. I'll share this. As a matter of fact, once I'm done with this video, I'll look them up and then put in the description. There are grants for Latinos. There are grants, women in aviation, millions of dollars every year. And guess what? You don't have to be a woman to apply for those scholarships. So I'm letting you know this information. Obviously, it's readily available online. But if you never thought to apply for, what I would advise is, no matter who you are or your background, just apply for every single one. Okay. From what I know, anyone can get any of these scholarships. So I would apply for everyone, every single one. So, and I'll like I said, I'll put some of them in the video description for you guys. But that's to answer your question. That's how you can get a sponsor. And then, look into nonprofits as well. I know, again, we're working with one right now, Fly for the Culture, that will be introducing programs to get more people in the cockpit and also train new students for free. And there are also programs where you can exchange your service. Maybe it's working on the airplane or helping out, and then you exchange that for flight time. That way you're not, paying out of pocket, but you're paying with your time. So I would try my best to put that together. And am I free forming? I have no idea what that question means. But guys, that's the last question. I promise that would be the last question. But guys, I really do want you to take advantage of the scholarships and the grants. If you want to learn how to fly, there's some money out there that goes unclaimed. So I want you to do that. AOP is a great resource. PilotArm also would be one of those resources you can use to get access to some of this scholarships and grants and to get you in the left seat. Okay, so that's my time. I'm going to end this now. I want to thank you all so much. Again, thank you for everyone who supported the channel, who supported me. Also, thank you for helping to get to 200,000. Guys, please leave in the comments. I want to know what type of videos that actually made you start watching MojoGrip and what type of videos you'd like to see in the future. I'm going to put a poll up because, again, we need to streamline the content that I'm putting up because I need some rest. So, but I want to thank you all so much. Thank you so much. And if you've just been a looker and you haven't actually subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do that right now. Subscribe with the notification bell on. I typically upload Sundays and Thursdays, and I will continue to do that at least for the time being. So please stay tuned. And also check out my personal channel. If you're into business, real estate, things like that, I just yap about stuff like that on Mike Ojo channel. So check that out. And I'll catch you on the next video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all later. Peace. Peace out.